Greetings, comrades. In this video, we want to talk about the beauty of Africa. Indeed, Africa is a beautiful continent. Those that are my friends on Facebook are now familiar with the photos that I post from different African countries. And one of the things that I've noted is that governments in Africa and ourselves, of course, we do not visit the continent. We do not visit uh, places in our own countries, tourist attraction places or beautiful places. And we say this should only be visited by tourists. But Africa, indeed, is a beautiful continent. It only lacks proper political leadership. This is why many Africans they drown in the seas, going to Europe, going to North America for better opportunities. But Africa is a continent with a good agricultural soil. There is no continent that can compete with Africa if we put our systems in place in terms of agriculture. We have the best agricultural land in Africa. We have the best livestock grazing land in Africa. We have the minerals, all the minerals that we can think of are found in Africa. Our soil produces good tobacco. Zimbabwe used to be number 2 after Brazil. We have oil in Africa, but we remain a poor continent. But in terms of the resources, in terms of our climate, in terms of the forest that we have in Africa, we are the best. You visit exciting places in Africa. But of course, as I'm saying, we need to resolve political crisis that are in Africa. Africa internationally is known for wars. You remember the African Union once had a theme which says silencing the guns in Africa. Indeed, we are known for wars, we are known for poverty, we are known for diseases, but it is us that can change the face of Africa so that Africa begins to take care of its own people. There are many beautiful places in Africa. You can visit the river, Leyele River in Abidan, in Nigeria. You can get into a boat, get into the water, then a boat, and enjoy yourself. You can go to Zambezi. I once went there, Zambezi Victoria Falls. That cruise, they call it the Sunset Cruise, is actually beautiful, out of this world. It's in Africa. You can visit the hills, the forest in Equatorial Guinea. Some of us, in those, of course, I've never left the African continent myself, but those that have money in Africa that go on holiday. They do not go on holiday to other African states. People go to holiday in Europe. They go to holiday in North Africa. They will not go and view Malabo in Equatorial Guinea. It's a beautiful place. Togo is a beautiful place. You can go to Walvis Bay in Namibia. Quite an exciting area to spend your weekend there, to spend your holiday there. It's a beautiful place. You can go to Changu in Tanzania. It's a nice dam with some kind of a rockish on top. It's like a bridge. You think it's a man-made bridge. It is not. It's in nature. You go to the Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. You go also to see what is called the sea clouds in Mount Meru in Tanzania. These are beautiful places in Africa. You go to Chinoi Caves in Zimbabwe. It's a cave. The water underground is blue. First time for me to go there in 2013, I was amazed to see blue water inside the cave. Of course, there are stories there that you cannot swim and so forth. Is a discussion for another day. You can go to an island in Lake Asal in Timbuti. Quite an amazing place. Very, very beautiful. You can visit Malawi. It's a beautiful place. So Africa itself is beautiful. Africa is great. You can go to Olumu Rock in Ogun State in Nigeria. We just had an election in Nigeria, and there are still issues I see on social media people are posting the photo and the videos of the president-elect in Nigeria talking about his age. But Nigeria is a beautiful place. I wasn't aware until recently that there's this huge hill which they call the Zuma Rock. And when I posted that on Facebook, people were asking whether it was named after the former South African president, Jacob Zuma. So it's important that all of us as Africans, we must visit places. I know when I was growing up in the village, the only place I'll visit is from the village to the city, from the city to the village. It was a one way. Then I went to a boarding school. From a boarding school, I would go to the city, then to the village. I would not go outside of my own village. In fact, my boarding school, that the school that I went to, was in my district in Umzingwan. So I was always in my district. If I was out of my district, I would have gone to the city in Bulawayo. Outside that, I only started visiting all these places, whether it's Victoria Falls, it's Kariba, it's Manicaland, when I was now an adult, doing that on my own. You can visit Madagascar. What a beautiful place. You can visit Botswana. It's actually one of the exciting places as well. Uganda, the national park in Uganda called the Kidibo National Park. So Africa is a beautiful continent. But as I said, as I move to conclusion, is that we need in Africa to resolve the political crisis in Africa. We need to take charge of our own resources. We need to build our economies so that no African leaves the continent for greener pastures. Those that might want to leave the continent will be doing so out of love, not out of desperation, as is the case. You look at the crisis in Libya, people that are drowning in the seas in North Africa, trying to escape poverty in Africa. But we have the best land, as I've said, agricultural land. We have the best timber in Africa. We have the best minerals in Africa. We have the best weather in Africa. We are a continent that is not experiencing natural disasters. Yes, we do, but not compared to other continents. So let us love Africa. Let us, all of us, work to improve our image as Africans. Let us work to rebuild our economies in Africa. Africa is the best place. This is why when Cecil Rhodes was ill as a young boy, the best place he could go to was in Africa, because had he stayed in Britain, maybe could not have recovered. I know of many people that left Europe that I've met in Africa that are saying the weather in Africa is good. Africa is a beautiful continent. Please share your own stories about the places that you have visited. We always visit the beach in Durban, in Port Elizabeth, in Cape Town. Share the places that you visited in Africa and want to hear more. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel, circulate this video, and please like the video. Otherwise, share the comments, your views in the comment section. Otherwise, let's love Africa. Africa is beautiful. Goodbye.